Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jessie Law, Judge Law, and I'm going to be beginning with the Fulton County State Expedited Accusation Calendar. This expedited calendar is one in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Upon being booked in at the jail, the cases would have been already formally accused by the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Upon being accused, the cases are then bound over to State Court of Fulton County, and this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I address your cases on a one-on-one basis, I will advise you of your accusation number, the charges brought against you, who is going to be representing you, as well as address your bond if one has not been set. Other issues I may address is giving you a reset date and whether or not your case will be arraigned today. If you are a defendant accused of one or more misdemeanor criminal offense, please remember your constitutional rights. These rights are meant to preserve your defenses as well as to make sure you do not incriminate yourself. The first one is the right to remain silent. Anything you say during the course of this virtual court proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we have attorneys from the Public Defender's Office, or a conflict attorney will be appointed to represent you. Who do we have in courtroom 2, please?
This is going to be position 8, Ms. Henson.
We have Carol and, excuse me, is it Ivy? Ivy Jamila Fenton, accused of criminal trespass from January 19, 2022. Her case number is 22 CR 000281E. Ms. Henton, you're going to be represented by Ms. Thomas. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
First arrest, it was a SOB jail. She's homeless.
All right. Ms. Webb, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. In this case, the state is recommending a $1,000 signature bond. Stay away from the incident location at 469 Marietta Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. That is the Salvation Army shelter. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Your Honor, we are actually recommending this defendant for diversion, but all things considered with her housing situation, a part of her bond condition, we are requesting that she make contact with the PAD program, PAD Atlanta. Our office has already reached out to them considering the circumstances, and they are aware of her case and are willing to assist her with possibly finding housing, getting a cell phone and things of that nature. That contact number is 470-819-4853. She can also visit the website, or her counsel can visit the website at atlantapad.org. But we would like for that to be a condition of the bond that she does go ahead and make contact with their office.
Okay. Ms. Thomas, do you have the contact information for her to find this alternative source of housing and support?
I do, Your Honor, and we've also been in contact with her father, who's also going to help us with getting her connected to the PAD program.
All right. Ms. Henton, your bond is $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Please reach out to this new resource in order to assist you with housing and support, because you cannot return to the Salvation Army at Marietta Street. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you return to that location, 469 Marietta Street, you will be arrested and brought back to jail, and your opportunity for pretrial diversion may disappear as well. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So we will see you in court. As soon as you are released, within 30 days, you need to come back to the courthouse at 160 Prior Street, go to the clerk's office, and update us with a new mailing address.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have position 1, Mr. Barner. Have a seat over here, Mr. Barner.
And I believe the state requested a breakout. for this position.
Yes, we did, Your Honor.
All right, hands up. Who wants to go in the breakout room besides Ms. Arnold, myself, Ms. Thomas, and Ms. Falk? All right. Mr. Jordan, if you could place the 5 of us, 4 of us in a breakout room, please. All right, Ms. Thomas back over. This is this case of State versus Dwayne Lamar Barner, case number 22 CR 0000269J. Pursuant to the virtual sidebar we've had with both defense counsel and the prosecutors, bond is going to be set at $1,000 surety bond to stay away from the Buckhead Library on Buckhead Avenue. And his next court date is going to be February 3rd, 2022. And also, we're going to reset this case to February 3rd, and we are going to reset the companion case which is 21 CR 001600J to February 3rd, 2022 as well. Both cases will hopefully travel in tandem, and we can address them separately.
Have a seat right here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Bonner, you have a seat right here. Next is position 4, Mr. Dewberry.
Thank God for the rush.
Put your mask up for me.
Your Honor, while they're bringing him up, the other case that I referred to in the breakout was Vila.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this is Demarcus Dewberry, accused of criminal trespass on January 19, 2022. Mr. Dewberry also has a companion case, 21 CR 007242G. Mr. Dewberry, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Bianca Thomas. Any priors, Mr. Toussaint?
22 total. Last arrest was December for simple battery. Did you see the open cases in Odyssey?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 2 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. He had a 2019 arrest out of Alabama for trespass. Hold on. On top of those 2 cases, those 3 cases, I'm sorry, that's open. He got a marijuana conviction from 2018. 2016 burglary in the 1st degree, criminal damage to property 2nd degree arrest. 2013 simple battery family violence. That was a conviction. Got a 2013 battery family violence, cruelty, and a 3rd arrest. State may know if that's a conviction or not. I didn't look that one up. 2013 probation violation. 2011 suspended license. He pled no load.
Oh, that's good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Ms. Arnold, he's presently got the $3,000 surety bond. What's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, we're asking that that bond remain and that there be a stay away from 10761 Alpharetta Highway in Roswell, and that there be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Your Honor, we are concerned that the defendant will reoffend. As it was mentioned in the warrant, the defendant was panhandling in that parking lot where he was arrested. The same day he was given a formal trespass notification, only an hour before, Your Honor, and he went back and continued to panhandle in front of that Shell gas station. In addition, we do believe he will reoffend based on the fact that he has a probation violation, 2 of them from 2009. And then as pretrial mentioned, the 2019 criminal trespass arrest from Fulton County, and then 1 from Alabama as well. And in addition to those open cases that were mentioned as well for the criminal damage to property in the 2nd degree. So for these reasons, Your Honor, we are requesting that that bond remain. We do have concerns that he will reoffend, so we are asking that the bond be set at the $3,000 surety with the conditions as stated.
All right, thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dewberry is 33 years of age, a Georgia native, born and raised here. He did express to me that he is unfortunately homeless, but he does have a mailing address in which he can receive court notice. He does also have community ties. His family resides here. He is the father of 2 children. He completed the 11th grade. Right now, Mr. Dewberry is unemployed, does not receive any assistance, so any bond amount is essentially no bond for him. I am asking for the bond amount currently to be reduced to no more than $500 if Mr. Dewberry is not entitled to a signature bond. Your Honor, nothing further.
Bond is set at $1,500 is a surety bond to stay away from the Shell gas station at 10671 Alpharetta Highway in Roswell, Georgia. He was just released on a signature bond through the jail on January 13, 2022. And it's not even been a week and he's back with us. So welcome back, Mr. Dewberry. And that other case, 7242G has been arraigned, and that will be further notice to Judge Mather for reconsideration of his bond. At the present time, his bond is $1,500 surety bond, and we will see him on February 3rd.
And Your Honor, you said 7242G?
It's 21 CR 007242G. He was just released on a signature bond on January 13th of this year.
But
So,
hey, Judge, you
Mr.
showed-
Dewberry, Mr. Dewberry,
Hey,
I'm gonna
can I
advise
ask
you to remain silent.
Ask the judge, can I ask you a question?
No.
Remember
Mr.
when you
Dewberry.
told me it's not a criminal trespass unless I go in the building? I ain't going to the building. You said pass through the parking lot was all right, but don't.
Mr. Dewberry, you are wrong.
So you did not tell me
Mr.
You are
Dewberry,
wrong.
in the building.
You are wrong. Next case, please.
Next, we have position 5, Dudley. Where's Dudley?
Francois, is there a way we can remove Mr. Dewberry from the courtroom? And who do we have right now? Mr. Dudley?
Position
Thank
5,
you.
Mr. Dudley.
Thank you. Mr. Chicory Dudley is case number 22 CR 00030000274F, accused of possession of marijuana and fare evasion on January 19, 2022. Mr. Dudley, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. McLeod.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Tucson?
This is fourth arrest. Last was 2020 theft by taking. 2017 trespass dismissed. 2020 shoplifting. It went to felony earlier. I think that bond was $75,000.
All right, Ms. Arnold, what's your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, the state is requesting $1,000 surety for the possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce and a $1,000 surety for count 2 for fare evasion for a total of a $2,000 surety bond. We're asking from a stay away from the East Point MARTA, which is located at 2848 Main Street in Atlanta, and that there be no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Your Honor, we are concerned that the defendant will reoffend based on the fact that he does have that open case from the DA's office, 22 DA 00549 for armed robbery and aggravated assault, Your Honor. So for these reasons, we are requesting that $2,000 surety with the conditions as stated.
Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client has told me that the aggravated assault case was dismissed. At least that was his understanding. He is a native of Atlanta, Your Honor. He's 22 years old. He has shared with me that he has a 1-year-old son who was recently shot and killed, and the funeral will be this weekend, and he really would like to get out so that he can attend his son's funeral. He is employed, Your Honor. He works at Mrs. Winners and has been working there for some time. He has ties to the community, his mom and a sister who live here. And he's just going through a rough time right now because the child was shot some time ago, but just died recently.
On the fare evasion, it's $500. On the possession of marijuana, it's $200. It's a $700 signature bond to the jail. And
Thank
this
you,
case is going to be reset to February 3rd. I don't know why I'm still thinking January. February 3rd, 2022. If he's still in custody pursuant to his companion case, the related case in Superior Court. Ms. McLeod, then we may address this particular case accordingly.
Thanks, Your Honor.
Your Honor,
Mm.
will there be any conditions?
Stay away from MARTA in accordance with any active suspension.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next is position 18, Mr. White.
Mr. Tommy White is case number 22 CR 0000282J, accused of willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from January 19, 2022. And Mr. White, your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod, and you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Mr. Tucson?
Is he 17 and 18 or just 17? Or just 18?
both,
Both.
Your Honor.
18, I heard 18.
Yeah, he's both.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yep, you're right. I'm so sorry. I just zoomed into, you're right.
Your Honor,
He's
this is
got-
also a co-defendant case with position number 2.
Okay. But Tommy White does have another case, which is the battery family violence from
Yeah.
October 9th, 2021. And let me see. I'm sorry, who is is it a co-defendant or cross-defendant?
A co-defendant.
It's a co-defendant case, Your Honor,
All right.
with
Is
position 2.
position 2 is, what's the name of that co-defendant?
Frederick Bazan.
All right. Is Mr. Bazan, well, I'll address Mr. Bazan shortly because Mr. White has 2 cases. But tell me what's going on, Ms.
19 adult arrests. Last was 2020 probation violation for burglary. He's on probation for that. 2019 simple battery family violence arrest. Got a 2014 felony obstruction, simple battery conviction. Another 2014 arrest, interference with government property conviction. Got a felony obstruction, possession of a Schedule 4 controlled substance, felony terrorist threats conviction, 2014. 2010 interference with government property. 2009 felony obstruction conviction.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, let's start with the battery case first. What's your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, the recommendation on this case will be $3,000 cash bond, no further contact with the victim, Christopher Davis, common spelling, a stay away from address 1371 Kimberly Way, Southwest, number 8203, Atlanta, Georgia, a 1-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, in the battery case, officers responded to the domestic dispute and met with Ms. Davis. Ms. Davis and defendant were formerly in a relationship and lived together at one point. In the police report, Ms. Davis stated that during a verbal argument, she was sitting on the bed when defendant put both his hands around her neck and attempted to choke her. When Ms. Davis pushed defendant off and walked away, defendant then began striking Ms. Davis in the face with a closed fist and pulled her wig. Ms. Davis had a scratch on her forearm, drawing blood. The state's concern here is defendant is a high risk of reoffending. He has a simple battery family violence conviction in 2019 with the same victim, Ms. Davis, case number 19 CR 008916J. He also has additional violent history, including a simple battery conviction in 2014 and a battery conviction in 2006. Being that this is a domestic violence case, we are concerned for the victim in this case, especially since there is a past battery that already exists that defendant was convicted for with her. So that's going to be the basis for that recommendation, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. McClellan?
Yes, Your Honor. With respect to the domestic violence matter, he has been out and about since the alleged incident happened, and there has been no further contact with this young lady, between him and this young lady. So
Okay.
I would say that the risk of this happening again between them is low, because it was several months since it happened, and there has been no further complaint by this young lady concerning that matter. So I think, given the fact that he is employed, he tells me he works at a grill restaurant in Decatur, and that if he gets out, he'll be able to go back to work. Judge, he's not in a position certainly to pay a cash bond or any kind of bond, because he has a job which doesn't pay a lot of money. So I would ask the judge to consider giving him a signature bond, given the fact that he has been out and he was arrested yesterday on this new charge of alleged obstruction. And if he's not in, if the court does not think that he should have a signature bond, then I would ask that he be given as low a bond as possible, Judge.
When was that case resolved, the 19 CR case? Do you know, Ms. Mitchell? Was it a plea or was it a trial verdict?
Let me check on that, Your Honor. One moment. the last thing stated in the case that I see was on January 4th of 2022, plea and arraignment failure to appear was the result.
Okay,
Ms. Mitchell is correct. That case is in bench warrant status.
Okay, thank you. The bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a surety bond. No further contact with Christopher Davis, to stay away from 1371 Kimberly Way in Southwest Atlanta. No contact with Ms. Davis or any children they may share. And no illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. Now, with regards to the misdemeanor obstruction of an officer, Ms. Mitchell, any objection to a $1,000 signature bond through the jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what's the basis of the objection? I understand his history and the other case, but I'm just looking at the alleged events of this incident.
He does have a conviction. Well, so the second case is with a totally different set of facts, as Your Honor is aware, but he does have a possession of controlled substance conviction in 2014, burglary in 2010, purchase, possession, manufacture, distribution, sale, marijuana in 2008, marijuana possession in 2006. So he does have a history with that. Oh, I'm sorry, and obstruction in 2010. In 2014 and 2010. I was confused
Yes.
with the other co-defendant, my apologies.
No, but I understood what you were saying. Ms. McLeod, I'm going to do a $1,000 signature bond through the jail on this issue.
Thank you, Your Honor.
His court dates for both cases is February 3rd, 2022,
500.
with conditions.
Next is position 2, Mr. Bazin.
Your Honor, my business for today is concluded. May I be excused?
Well, 18 cases, that was pretty fast, Ms. McLeod.
My two came up very quickly, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Who's next? I'm sorry, courtroom 2?
Position 2, Mr. Bazin.
So Mr. Frederick Bazin is the co-defendant with Mr. White, and he's Frederick Alphonsus Bazin, 22 CR 0000272A, accused of the following offenses: a brake light or turn signal violation, improper or erratic lane change, driving under the influence of alcohol less safe, misdemeanor possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce, and possession of an open alcohol container, driver only. Mr. Bazan, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be appointed from the Conflict Defender's Office. Is that correct, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, Miss McLeod.
Oh, she was conflict.
She was conflict. This is our case.
Okay, go ahead, Miss. And your attorney is Ms. Thomas. Mr. Tucson, any prior DUIs, please?
2016 conviction.
All right.
You saw the open felony?
Yes, I'm just wondering whether he's got DUI conviction. Okay, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, what's your recommendation?
Your Honor, our recommendation as to count 1 is going to be a $500 surety, count 2, $500 surety, count 3, $3,000 surety, count 4, $1,000 surety, count 5, $1,000 surety, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. The state's concerns here is defendant is a high risk of reoffending. He does have 2 prior DUI convictions, as pretrial stated in 2017 and 2007. He also has several drug convictions, the marijuana possession less than an ounce 2017, 2011, and 2 possessions of controlled substance in 2011, and possession, distribution, sale of marijuana in 2009. Defendant also has 6 probation violations. So that's going to be the state's biggest concerns here.
So you mentioned a 2017 and one other DUI. I thought I heard one 2016 DUI from Mr. Tucson.
So the 2016, 2017, the disposition was 2017, but it occurred in 2016.
I see.
But there was another one in 2007.
2007, okay.
Yes.
So this will be a third lifetime DUI arrest.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Ms. Thomas? I'm sorry, Ms. Thomas, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bazan is 34 years of age. He has been a Georgia resident for the past 15 years. He expressed that he has family also residing here in the state. He's the proud father of 4 children, a 10-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 6-month-old. Excuse me, I believe 2 10-year-olds. Your Honor, he completed some college, and he's also gainfully employed at the Latin Labor Staffing in Forest Park, where he has been working for the past 2 years. I am requesting a bond no more than $3,000, Your Honor. Mr. Bazan also has a situation in Henry County in which he needs to be able to go resolve, I believe is some type of hold for probation. He wished to be able to go handle that matter as well. He did express that he's not going to be able to make a high bond amount, so we are asking for a bond no more than $3,000 so that he had the opportunity to defend against these charges and also resolve his matters in Henry County.
All right. The possession of an open alcohol container is $1,000. The DUI is going to be $3,500. The remaining charges are going to be $500 each. Total bond is $6,000. This is a surety bond. Next court date is February 3rd, 2022. No driving unless he has the appropriate authority from the Department of Driver Services from an ALS hearing. So no driving unless ALS allowed. He gets a favorable outcome from an ALS hearing. No illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, no weapons, no firearms. And we will see him in court on February 3rd.
Thank you.
Next,
Thank you.
position 13, Mr. Newton. Newton, come have a seat.
Mr. Joseph Darius Newton is accused of criminal trespass in 22 CR 000271G from an incident on January 19, 2022. Mr. Newton, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is going to be Mr.
Good
Darrell
afternoon, Your
Coleman.
Honor. That would be me, Mr. Coleman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Coleman. Long time no see.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, sir. All right, Mr. Newton unfortunately has 2 other cases with us, 21 CR 002841G and 21 CR 005876E. Mr. Tucson, anything else to address?
2020 arrest out of North Carolina, uttering forged endorsement, forgery of instrument, and resisting public office. And it shows he's a resident of North Carolina.
Okay. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. Our recommendation on this case is going to be a $1,500 surety bond, a stay away from address 250 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, which is the Hilton Office Towers, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, in the police report, it was found that the defendant continued to enter the property of Hilton Office Towers, the residential side, without the manager's or resident's permission. He was walking in the garage where the residents parked their vehicles, the lobby area, and somehow the residential floors. The defendant was also given a criminal trespass warning on December 8th of 2021 at the same location. The state's concern here is defendant's risk of reoffending. He does have 2 prior criminal trespass arrests, one in June 2021 and the other October 2021. And we are concerned that he may be a risk, being that he doesn't really have sufficient ties in Georgia and him being a resident of North Carolina. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Your Honor, I would be requesting a signature bond from Mr. Newton. He is 28 years of age. He states that he has resided here for the last year. He is a high school graduate, currently employed at Checkers. No children. This is a nonviolent offense. We will be requesting a signature bond.
Right. He received a signature bond on June 15, 2021, in case number ending at 2841G for criminal trespass. He received a signature bond on October 30th, 2021 for criminal trespass in the case ending in 5876E.
Well, let's keep the trend going.
And now we are here again on another criminal trespass matter for this young man who apparently didn't get the memo from the other two cases. Bond is set at $2,000. It's a surety bond. His next court date is February 3rd to stay away from the Hilton office towers. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we done. Next is position 14, Richardson.
Oh, sorry, just give me a second. There we go. I still have the other one on. I'm sorry, Francois, you said Richardson, did you?
Yes.
Okay, position 14. Mr. Richardson has got 22 CR 0000273Y, accused of 4 misdemeanor offenses, expired or no license plates or decal, a brake light or turn signal violation, driving without a valid license, and failure to maintain insurance. This allegedly occurred on January 19, 2022. Mr. Richardson, you do have a right to remain silent as advised, and your attorney is Mr. Darrell Coleman. Mr. Tucson?
This is 4th arrest. Previous 3 come out of Illinois. He's a resident of Illinois. June 2020, no valid registration, failure to transfer title, obstructing identification, a title offense, improper use of a title. January 2020, suspended license, obstructing identification. 2014, suspended license. Driving above the speed limit is what it says. Failed to notify name, address change. And he's a resident of Joliet, Illinois.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, there's a current bond, total of $2,000 surety. Count 1 is $500. Count 2 is $500. 3, $1,000, and count 4 is $500. The state's going to request that the bond remain the same in addition to no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, in this case, defendant was stopped in his vehicle when officers noticed his passenger side brake light was not functioning. Additionally, defendant didn't have a state issued license plate, but instead a half rolled up paper drive out tag with no state issued ID number affixed to it. When asked for the driver's license, defendant provided a handmade laminated NSONA Royal Tribe ID card. Instead, officer ran a search and saw the registration on the vehicle expired November 28, 2020, and showed no valid insurance coverage on the vehicle. Officers informed defendant that he was going to impound the vehicle and only cite him. Defendant was free to leave, but when defendant refused, he was placed under arrest at that time. The state's concerns here is defendant's risk of reoffending. His criminal history are filled with, I'm sorry, let me start over. His criminal history is all traffic and ID related offenses in Illinois, as you heard from pretrial. We are concerned that defendant may be a flight risk, being that he has no sufficient ties to the community and he is a resident of Illinois. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Coleman?
Your Honor, I'd be requesting a signature bond from Mr. Richardson. He is 34 years of age. He states that he does have his master's degree from Lake Erie College in Ohio. He is a business owner. He owns a gym in the city of Chicago. He also states to me that the vehicle in question was not his, but rather a friend's. Based on this, I will be requesting a signature bond from Mr. Richardson.
What's the name of the friend?
What is your friend's name, sir?
Marcus Gordon. It was his vehicle. He just bought the vehicle. He had the title. So I was under the assumption that I could drive under the title because you have a certain amount of days. But I guess in Georgia, they charge you for somebody else's vehicle. But that's
Okay,
how.
thank you, sir. I just want to know the name.
Okay.
And you said he's got a master's degree. I mean, in what field?
What is your master's degree in?
In business?
Business.
On the expired or no license plate says 500. The brake light violation is going to be 500. The failure to maintain insurance and driving without a valid license, that's 1,000 each. Total bond is $3,000, surety bond. Next court date is February 3rd, 2022. Please contact Mr. Borden if he will assist you with the bond issue. Otherwise, we will see you on February 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And no driving any vehicle unless he's got a valid driver's license attached to his person and that the vehicle has adequate insurance and is properly registered. Thank you.
Okay, I have something to say.
No, sir.
Well, I can't contact anybody. I don't have nobody's number, so everything's in my phone. That's why I didn't call Mr. Gordon.
I'm assuming that Mr. Borden's car is impounded.
I'm not sure.
Well,
It probably was since you were arrested for not having a valid license.
And I do
So
have
I'm sure he'll be looking for his car.
You can maybe speak to the personnel at the jail and see if they can give you access to the phone or someone else to get the number.
Okay, and I do have a license, just to let you know. I have an Illinois residence license as well.
No driving unless you have a valid, current, unexpired, government-issued driver's license.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I do have one, and I think the police officer got mad because I asked him. I just asked
I'm
him,
going to ask you not to say anything further at this point.
I'm just. Can I make a statement? I'm just making a statement. I think.
Well, again, it's not really going to help you at this point because the judge is not going to change the bond amount.
Right, and I get that. I'm just making a statement. I'm just saying I asked the police officer for his oath of office and his bond insurance, and because I said he was a public servant, and I think that's why he got mad and took me to jail because he was going to let me go at first. So
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. That concludes this case.
How can I get
Francois, this case is concluded.
Next is position 15, Mr. Spearman.
Isaiah Spearman III is accused of theft of lost or mislaid property from January 12, 2022. Mr. Spearman's case is 22 CR 000277G from January 12, 2022. Mr. Spearman, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Darrell Coleman. Mr. Tucson?
10 total.
Okay.
Last arrest was November 2020 for obstruction, simple assault. It's open in the cab. 2015 simple assault, NOLO. 2014 simple battery, family violence, NOLO. 2010 failure to appear for suspended license, possession of marijuana. Those were NOD. 2009 probation violation, disorderly conduct.
All right. Ms. Mitchell, what's the recommendation?
The recommendation in this case is going to be a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Drew T, spelled DHRUTI, Trivedi, spelled TRIVEDI. Stay away from address 704 Cherry Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As your honor is aware, defendant stole a pair of Apple AirPods that belonged to Ms. Trivedi. Said AirPods have a value of less than $1,500. The state's concern here is that although defendant, most of his history is violent, this is his first theft. We are concerned defendant will be a flight risk, being that he has 3 failure to appears in 2010. Nothing further, your honor.
This happened on January 12th. And the ticket says the airports are worth about $400. All right. Mr. Coleman's $1,000 signature bond through the jail. He is to have no contact with Miss Dhruti Trivedi. And he needs to stay away from that, what was it, Miss Mitchell, Cherry Street location?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If she hasn't retrieved her property, then I'm sure she'll know where to find him to sue him. But in the meantime, let's keep the value of these items to a reality check, okay?
Judge, you said 1,000 SOB jail?
Yes.
Okay. Next is position 9, Mr. King.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Odell King is accused of battery domestic violence from January 19, 2022 in case 22 CR 00275D. Mr. King, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Darrell Coleman. Mr. Tucson?
It's his second adult arrest. Last arrest was 2020 in Pennsylvania. Simple assault, retail theft, 2 counts. 1 count receiving stolen property, 1 count of harassment. The retail theft was a conviction. I don't see the disposition for the other charges.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mitchell, our prosecutor, Ms. Alexandria. Ms. Fulton.
Let me jump in on this one just in case, because one of our attorneys did get booted out. Which case is this, Your Honor?
This is position 9. Yes.
Okay, let's see, position 9. Let me pull that up very quickly. So it'll only take me a moment, Your Honor.
I didn't mention the 2016 arrest because he was a juvie, by the way, Judge. So,
Understood. I just wanted the last 2. That's good.
okay.
Okay. So, Your Honor, the recommendation on the King case.
This is Nasir Edmund, apparently a nephew or a cousin.
Nasir Edmund. Thank you.
At Fenwick Place.
My apologies, Your Honor. I'm just trying to pull that up. Okay. All right, Your Honor, in this case, our state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with Nasir, Nazir, Edmund, common spelling, Edmond, stay away from the incident location at 28 Fenwick Place, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. We are also requesting a 1-day anger management. As Your Honor knows, this case occurred at the 28 Fenwick Place when officers received a dispute call. The defendant stated they were met with the defendant. He stated that he and his nephew were in a tussle. Mr. Edmonds did have visible markings on his neck that indicated a physical struggle, and he informed the officers that the defendant had grabbed him, struck him, and scratched him. Also, the parties both agreed that this only turned physical because Mr. King initiated the contact. The state's concerns in particular for this case are the fact that this is his first offense out of Georgia, but his history out of Pennsylvania goes back all the way to from 2016 to 2020. He's got that open harassment, simple assault in 2020, and then the terroristic threats, reckless endangering in Philadelphia in 2016. So we not only have concerns of a risk of reoffense because there's some violence there between the simple assault as well as the terroristic threats, but we also have concerns because there's appears to be very few, if any, contacts to Georgia in that the last offense in Pennsylvania is that 2020 offense about a year ago.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Coleman, is your client visiting?
It is, Your Honor. I would be requesting a signature bond from Mr. King. He is 20 years of age. He has resided here in Atlanta, Fulton County for the last 12 years. He is currently employed at Marco's Pizza. Again, due to his lack of criminal history, this being only his second arrest, I would be requesting a signature bond.
And I know what I meant was, is he visiting from Pennsylvania or when did he arrive?
We're talking about Cordell King, right?
Right. Mhm.
It's my understanding he's lived here for the last 12 years.
And he's got outstanding issues in Pennsylvania. Is that what Ms. Folk just said?
I believe so, but again, he may have just been visiting in Pennsylvania. While I was interviewing him, he says that he's lived here for the last 12 years.
Okay.
No, I was saying,
Keep your mask up.
I was saying that I've been here since, no, I moved to Philly when I was 8 years old, and I've been here for almost 6 to 8 months.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Put your
that.
mask over your nose.
So he's
Learn
only
how
been
to wear a
here.
mask.
He's only been here in Atlanta for the last 6 to 8 months. Then
Okay.
I misunderstood.
And does he have an adult parent or guardian or relative here?
He is living with his sister.
No, can't live there. Fenwick Place is out of the question.
I have family in Florida that was willing to let me stay with them.
So you're moving to Florida now?
He says that he had a godmother. He says he was living with his sister. I don't know if the sister is living in the same location as the nephew.
Yes, she does.
Well, that helps. Mr. King, due to your insufficient ties with the state of Georgia, I cannot issue a signature bond. Bond is going to be set at $1,500. It's a surety bond. Next court date is February 3rd, 2022. You are to stay away from the 38 Fenwick Place, Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not sure if it's Atlanta, Georgia or Sandy Springs. I thought it was Sandy Springs. You cannot return to that location. You may go back one time only with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. You have to have no contact with Nazir Edmond, and you are to not consume any illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms, and no alcoholic beverages. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, that is in Sandy Springs.
So it's 38 Fenwick Place, Sandy Springs. Okay. Yes, sir. Who am I addressing?
Position 3, Mr. Borden.
Okay. I have Lawrence Borden, accused of obstruction of an officer from January 19, 2022. Mr. Borden is 22 CR 000-283Y. And Mr. Borden, your counsel is going to be Ms. Thomas, and you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Mr. Tucson?
This is 10th cycle. Last arrest was April 2020, failure to appear. He's on probation in Fulton. Ag assault, a deadly weapon, 2 counts. 1 count felony terrorist threat. That's 18 SC 159973.
Does he have any holds right now from all that?
Yes, he got bench warrants. Looks like.
Thank you. Ms. Arnold?
Yes, Your Honor. The bond is currently set at a $1,000 surety bond. We're asking that that bond remain. We are also asking that there be no further contact with Officer Grant-Jones and a stay away from 954 Hightower Road in Atlanta. As Your Honor is aware, this is a case where the defendant refused to show the officer his identification. And then when the officer tried to detain him, he resisted by refusing to give his hands to said officer. We are concerned that the defendant is a flight risk based on the fact that he has that 2020 FTA for the aggravated assault. In addition, we do believe that he will reoffend based on what pretrial just said. We believe he had, based on what pretrial just said about the bench warrants, which he was rearrested for on yesterday as well for the ag assault, possession of a firearm or knife during commission of a crime, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and the terroristic threats. So for these reasons, Your Honor, we are requesting that that bond remain at the $1,000 surety with the conditions as stated.
Bond is set as $1,000 signature bond to the jail. Next court date is February 3rd, 2022. And I gather then he'll still be in custody pursuant to his other holds. If he is released on these other holds, then he gets a signature bond to the jail, but make sure that his address is current with us at all times so that he can come back to state court. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is position 11, Mr. McDowell.
I'm saying, am I gonna get to ask for more time? You just call my name.
No, you don't have to accept that. They keep talking to the lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. McDowell, frivolous. McDowell is accused of simple battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass causing damage to property from an incident date of April 27, 2021. Mr. McDowell, your case number is 22 CR 000279C. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Coleman. Mr. Tucson?
6 total. Last arrest was back in December. 2 counts of trespass, 2 counts of battery in DeKalb County. He has an open case in Fulton, possession of a controlled substance, possession of marijuana with intent, possession of cocaine, possession of MDMA. In 2015, they gave him 6 years to serve, 4 years probation for ag assault in DeKalb County. So that should run out in 3 more years. I saw a fugitive warrant out of Tennessee. I think it's an ATF warrant for robbery. So, yeah, that's about it.
Thank you. Ms. Webb?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state is recommending a $1,500 surety bond for the criminal trespass, a $2,000 surety bond for the simple battery, no further contact with Ms. Dynasty Williams, that's Dynasty, spelled DYNASTY Williams, common spelling, a stay away from the 2301 Gobby Road address, Atlanta, Georgia, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a 1-day anger awareness. Your Honor, the state is making this recommendation because we are highly concerned with the victim's safety and that the defendant has a high risk of reoffending. As Your Honor knows, this incident arises from the incident that took place on February 27th of last year, where the defendant came to Ms. Williams' home and kicked down her front door. The responding officer did note that there was extensive damage to the door and the door's hinges and the door frame rather. And upon arrival, he was able to see an actual visible footprint on that door. A dispute and altercation then took place inside of the home with the defendant, where he repeatedly pushed and pulled on Ms. Williams. Although Ms. Williams did not have any visible markings on her person, the officer did see that her t-shirt that she was wearing was overly stretched all the way down to her pants, which indicates that he was pulling on her during that physical struggle inside of the home. The parties do share a child together, Your Honor, and we're concerned that Ms. Williams will be swayed to not participate in the prosecution process, and that she may simply just be afraid of the defendant, Your Honor. We did attempt to make contact with Ms. Williams, but we were not able to speak with her today.
All right, thank you. Mr. Coleman?
Your Honor, I would be requesting a signature bond for Mr. McDowell despite his history. He is 26 years of age, lifelong resident of Atlanta, Fulton County. He is not working, therefore he has no money to post for bond, father of 1 child, age 6 months. Again, we would have no problem with the no contact or the stay away if he needs to go back to the property one time to get his belongings, but we will be requesting a signature bond, or in lieu of that, a low bond for Mr. McDowell.
Does he live there? I have a Gordon Street address on him.
He states that he lives with his aunt.
So that's not at Godby Road, is that correct?
No.
Okay, So he doesn't have anything to retrieve from the victim's residence.
Do you have any belongings there, sir?
We need to unmute courtroom too.
Do you have any belongings at the Garby Street address, sir?
There's no longer a residence there.
Okay. No, he does not.
On simple battery, it's going to be 1,000. On the criminal trespass to property, it's 1,000. It's a $2,000 surety bond. No contact with Dynasty Williams, no contact with the minor child in question. If Mr. McDowell would like to have contact with the minor child, he would need to file a proper legitimation action with the Fulton County Superior Court or the appropriate court of jurisdiction in order to establish visitation and custody through a superior court order. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. And his next court date is going to be February 3rd, 2022.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. McDowell.
Thank you, Judge.
Excuse me, I was currently in conversation with Ms. Williams, and she stated she was not coming.
Okay.
She's no longer.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you not to speak on whatever occurred between you and Ms. Williams at this time.
And my
If
child.
Ms. Williams,
what
if Ms. Williams would like to have contact with you, sir, she would need to contact the Victim Advocate's Office of the solicitors, and they can seek a modification. And with regards to contact with the minor child, like I said, you would need to file a legitimation action with the Superior Court in the county in which the child resides, so that you may establish a visitation and custody order.
This case don't have nothing to do with my child.
Yes, you can. You go file a legitimation action, and the court will declare you as the legal father, and the court will then establish a visitation and custody pursuant to a court order.
This case don't have, it's not a domestic violence or it's not no family violence the way. Well,
I'm sorry, sir, since you share a child with the alleged victim, this is a family violence case.
Okay, I understand that. And then the bond situation, due to I will not be released from custody, could I make, if I pay bond today, I still will be in whole, I still be in federal custody to where I still make court date. I will not be released to society, so if paying the bond would do me no
Well,
good.
yes, that is an unfortunate situation, so I will see you on February 3rd. Thank you.
Next, we have position 12, Mr. Melody. Let's have a seat at the blue chair.
Mr. Zavon Deontay Medley is 22 CR 000268G, accused of battery, domestic violence from January 18, 2022. Mr. Medley, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Daryl Coleman. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
12 total. I don't think he has any violence. He got theft and drugs. Hold on for a minute, Joe. Yeah, he don't have any violence. Last arrest, 2019 probation violation. That was out of Carroll County. 2019. It's not one. It's not one under it. I have to keep going to figure it out. 2019 abandonment of dependent child, suspended registration. 2018. He had a 2016 out of Carroll County for 2 counts of reckless conduct, but those show non-pros. Got a drug conviction from 2016 out of Carrollton, so that's probably it. 2014 obstruction, criminal damage to property, misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Those were non-pros. He don't have any violence though, just so you know. He got a couple of more probation violations for drugs.
All right. Ms. Mitchell, is it?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll take him. Just so you know.
So the bond recommendation in this case is going to be a $4,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Jamie, spelled J-A-I-M-E, McDonald, stay away from address 3110 Godby, spelled spelled G-O-D-B-Y, Road 3F, College Park, Georgia. a one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, the police report indicated that on January 18th of 2022 at the 3110 Godby Road address, defendant battered victim Jamie McDonald by striking her with a closed fist, which caused marks and discolorations on her body. Ms. McDonald and defendant are in a relationship and live together in the same home. Ms. McDonald stated that the defendant had been abusive to her over the past couple of days, physically and verbally, because the defendant was upset Ms. McDonald was going over to their neighbor's house to drink with them. She also stated that the defendant tried to put her out of the house by packing her clothes and putting them outside because she was at her neighbor's house often. Ms. McDonald stated that the defendant hits her frequently, so she was afraid to call the police because she is petrified of the defendant. She was so afraid she couldn't even go back into the house while he was there. The neighbor, Ms. McDonald was drinking with that day, confirmed that the defendant has gotten physical with Ms. McDonald recently and that she has marks on her back to prove it. Another neighbor advised the officer that defendant and Ms. McDonald fight all the time and that the defendant is usually the primary aggressor, the reason being that Ms. McDonald is always intoxicated. Your Honor, the state's concern here is that the defendant is a high risk of reoffending based on the past allegations of violence by the victim and a few other witnesses, their neighbors, and the defendant also has 3 probation violations. Also, we're concerned, we're concerned of intimidation of a witness, being that this is a domestic violence case. The victim shared that she was very scared and petrified of the defendant. So that's going to be the basis of our recommendation, Your Honor.
I didn't see anywhere where they share children, or did I miss it?
I didn't see that either, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Bond is going to be set at $7,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. No contact with Jamie McDonald. He has to stay 200 yards away from her. He cannot communicate with her in person, through a phone, through a computer, through a third party, through social media. Absolutely no contact whatsoever. He has to stay 200 yards away from 3110 Godby Road, and that's in College Park or Atlanta?
Yes, College Park.
College Park. The entire location, 200 yards. He cannot return to the property to retrieve any belongings. If he has belongings at the location, a third party may go there with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings, but Mr. Medley cannot return to that location. And no illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms, no alcoholic beverages. And while he's released on bond, he will undertake a 4-month anger management program at his expense. His next court date is going to be provided to him. So within 30 days of being released, he needs to come back to Fulton County Court and update us with his new mailing address. If he doesn't update us with his new mailing address, we won't know where to send his notice, and a bench warrant will issue for his arrest.
And what was that anger management again? You just said that was 1 day?
4 months.
4 months?
Oh no, what did I mean? What is 12-week anger management? Is that 4 months?
Weeks.
Yeah.
What was that bond amount again?
7,500 signature bond through pretrial.
Yeah, for the record, I would object to 12 weeks of anger management at this point, since he's not been convicted of anything.
Understood. It's mostly therapeutic. All right. Courtroom 2, if Mr. Medley has any questions about his bond.
I can get released today.
You'll be released within 24 hours, but you cannot return to 3110 Godby Road, College Park, the entire complex.
I was already in the position of moving, so all of my stuff is in storage. I don't have nothing to go back to over there.
Oh, so okay, well that's fine, sir, because the judge would let you not go back there.
You cannot return there even to retrieve your belongings. So if you put everything in storage, that's perfect. You have to stay 200 yards away from Ms. McDonald. If you are seen anywhere near her or anyone tries to communicate with her on your behalf, all she has to do is call the cops and you're back in jail. And while you are out on bond, you are to complete a 12-week anger management program at your expense. This must be done within the next 6 months.
I don't have no money to pay for nothing.
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to get employment and be able to do that. You have 6 months to complete that program.
Okay.
Thank you. Make sure you come back to court and update us with your new address.
Judge, we have a couple of medical resets. I can go over them real quick.
All right. I understand then Bila is not going to be addressed.
Has he been? I think he was on the calendar maybe since last week. Is that correct?
Let's find out. Position 1, Barner was a $1,000 surety bond, reset date February 3rd.
Judge Law, let me just get to the medical resets and then
Okay.
you can go over the calendar.
Okay, what are they?
It's gonna be position number 6 is the medical reset.
Now, he's been a medical reset for quite a while.
Position 7, bonded out.
Okay, Carol Hector, yeah, she was released on a signature bond, okay?
Also, position 10 is a medical reset.
All right.
And also position 16, medical reset. And that's it, Judge.
16, that's Gabriel Vila. Okay.
Yes. I did the state all-purpose count, I think last Wednesday. I think he was on the calendar then and he'd been reset at least once, maybe twice on that day.
Okay. All right, Francois, I think that concludes the calendar then. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Judge. Have a good one.
All right. You too, thank you. All right, position 1, Barner was a $1,000 surety bond, reset date February 3rd. Position 2 is a $6,000 surety bond, reset date February 3rd. Position 3 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail, reset February 3rd due to his other holds. Position 4, Dewberry is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date February 3rd. His other companion case, the one ending in 7242G, has already been arraigned, so that one should be further noticed to the division judge. Position 5 is a $700 signature bond through the jail, reset February 3rd, 2022, pursuant to his other holds. Position 6 is reset to January 21st, C calendar. Mr. Coleman or Ms. Thomas, this has been lingering quite a while. I don't know what y'all want to do.
Yeah, I think again, this is someone that was in quarantine. I know this is what I was told today about Mr. Vila.
Well,
so I think both of
Mr.
these are quarantined.
This is Fernandez. Yeah. So we do have someone going down there. We tried to do a 3-way with him because he requires an interpreter, but he will not speak on the phone, and he's also in quarantine. He came from Grady. They placed him in quarantine. They had to get an officer to get a cell phone back there. But just so many hiccups is going on. So we have to physically get down there with our interpreter to speak with him because he will not speak over the phone.
All right. Just note his case was filed on January 10th, 2022. So this will be his 11th day.
And Your Honor, I will state, along with Ms. Thomas, that he was in Grady for the bulk of that. So he was in Grady for most of the time and just came back over here, and kind of that has started the issues. Vila actually was only arrested 2 days ago, so I'm not sure.
No, that's not a problem. But
Yeah,
with Fernandez, this is loitering and prowling. If there are no other, egregious circumstances, the state might want to decide whether he wants to pursue it.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Position 7, Carol Hector, I think I signed the signature bond, so she's being released. Position 8 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Position 9 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset date February 3rd. Position 10 is a medical reset to January 21st. Position 11 is a $2,000 surety bond, reset February 3rd. Position 12 is a $7,500 signature bond to pretrial, And position 13 is a 1,500 surety bond, reset date February 3rd. Position 14 is a 3,000 surety bond, reset date is February 3rd. I'm just going to go back to position 13 for a second, Joseph Newton. Not only is his current case going to be reset to February 3rd, but the two other companion cases listed on the calendar will also be reset to February 3rd because neither one of them have been arraigned.
And what was the bond on him again?
1,500 surety bond at the present time.
That's on Newton? Okay,
Yes.
because I had 2,000.
I had that as well. Did I say 2,000? Yes, ma'am. No, it was a 1,500 surety bond. I'm so sorry. Okay. 15.
Okay.
I think I wrote down all the numbers from his other cases. So
So it's 15?
1,500. He had a $2,000 signature bond in one of the other cases, and a $500 signature bond in the one ending in 2841G. Okay. Position 14, $3,000 surety bond, reset date February 3rd. Position 15 is a $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Position 16 is a medical reset to January 21st. Position 17 is a $5,000 surety bond reset February 3rd. And position 18, same defendants, $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Good?
You here
Your
tomorrow?
Honor, for position 5, could you just say again what the bond was for that?
Okay. Chicory Dudley is 500 on the misdemeanor possession of marijuana and 200 on the fair evasion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. He's got that open felony case with 75,000 surety. So I think fair evasion sort of falters somewhere.
Okay.
You here tomorrow? Yes.
No.
You not?
No, I think I have a break tomorrow.
On Friday, okay.
Oh, I get to do desk work tomorrow, so. All right, everyone, y'all be safe, stay warm. It's getting a little chilly again, so take care. Be safe and healthy. Take care.
Thank you. Nice seeing you.
You too, sir.
Judge.